Okay, we are moving on to lesson 3 now. This is about solving radical equations. And obviously, in the last lesson, we kind of talked about radicals and what we mean by that. Radical is a sign that we usually associate with square roots, but it's basically, it means the root of anything. And then we have the nth root of it, right? So this number that's here tells us what root we're taking. So if you've got something that's like, to the 4 power and you're taking it, it's 16, it's, what number are you multiplying by itself this many times to get this number in here, all right? And so this number right here is called the index, okay? We call that the index, all right? So it's not writing there. Index, I should make this a little less chunky. And that's what we kind of cue in on to see like what we're going to do, and that's going to be kind of important today, recognizing that this isn't always blank. And remember, when it is blank, like when you have something like this, that means, when blank, all right, it means it is a 2, right? Square root, right? And I believe the reason they do that is because it's probably the most common index they use. It's the most common root you find. So they probably get tired of writing 2 all the time. And over time, they probably just stopped using it. Someone stopped using it, and somebody's like, hey, what's the index? And he's like, oh, come on, it's always 2. I'm not writing that down every time. And that probably got adopted. I don't know if that was the exact conversation, but I wouldn't be surprised. So we're going to be dealing with these, right? We're going to be dealing with these radicals in equations, and what you'll find is solving them is very similar in the general idea of how you solve anything. So nothing new here we're throwing at you other than just the process for how to get rid of the sign, right? And even that's not entirely new. We've done a little bit of that already, just not in on blast the way we're going to do it today. All right, so radical equation is an equation that contains a radical, square root, cube root, etc. To eliminate a radical in an equation, raise both sides of the equation to an exponent. All right, so you raise both sides of the equation to an exponent, and it must match the index of the radical. All right, so we're going to look and see what that index is, and that's what we're going to raise it to. So for these two right here, right, you've got the square root of x equals 8, all right? And so think about how you're saying that. We know that the index of this is 2, okay? So we're saying square root of x. That's what this means. Remember, when the number's not there, we assume it's 2. So that means that we're going to raise both sides, so that's really important because this is algebra and keeping things balanced. So we're going to take this side and we're going to square it. We're going to take this side and we're going to square it. And whenever you match the index with the power, right, whenever you match this and this, it basically gets rid of anything exponent or root related, right? They kind of vaporize each other. This takes care of this whole thing here, and you're just left with what's under your radical, right? So you get x, and then this gives you 64. And lo and behold, you're finished, right? You've got x by itself, and you don't have to do anything else. So that's pretty straightforward for that one. And then for this one here, you got a cube root of y equals -3, right? So you're going to take your cube root of y, you got your -3, and we're going to raise those both to this index power here, right? We're going to raise these both to the 3rd power. Okay, and so that's going to give you y, because this does the same thing. This blank, this gets rid of this. Okay, and then you have -3 times itself 3 times. So if you have to go out on the edge here on the margin and figure that out, right? So you got -3 times -3 is +9. And then you multiply that by another -3 and you get -27. And that's the number you will put there. All right, so I think the basic premise is that you're still doing normal problem solving stuff, right? Fancy term, but it's the truth. And whatever you do to one side, you got to do the other. So nothing new from like the basic ideas of what we do with algebra. So we will stop the video here, and in the next video or two, we will talk about solving problems that are a little have a little more going on in this.